gerente del hotel ha solicitado el placer de su compañía.
Bienvenidos al Continental.
What the Continental has to offer that we haven't seen in the John Wick movies?
I mean, initially it's a deeper look at the Continental. I think we just skim the surface in the movies, and it's such an iconic piece of the movies. We were always so intrigued with what goes on there. How do you get into the Continental? How does it work inside? So the series takes a deeper look at that.
I think the Winston character over the course of the 4 movies has become pretty memorable. It wasn't by design, by the way, from the first movie. He was just one of many cast members. And his relationship with Sharon became emotional and great and actually became almost the heart of John Wick 4. And so I think the TV show is able to kind of really dig deep into who Winston is and how he became this crime lord that he is in the films, and this burgeoning friendship and brotherhood between him and Sharon.
How did you attract a legend like Mel Gibson to this series?
The good news about the John Wick franchise is not only has it been very successful financially, but it's been widely admired in terms of creatively, in terms of our Rotten Tomatoes and critics. And so it's kind of known as a class, at least like
a cool movie and franchise and world to be in.
An elegant, classy commercial shot. I don't think Mel has seen any of the movies before he read the script. He clearly liked the idea of playing a crazy, addled bad guy. He was always fans with Albert Hughes. I think he understands, like we all understand now, that television is it's the same kind of filmic qualities and standards that are applied now to television. There's no real separation between church and state anymore. And so I think he's like, God, I could chew up some scenery and have some fun. And that's why he signed on to it.
Yeah. Is Cormac the new character of the series you like the most? Or if not, which one is it?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
Who I like the most? Oh, I like Frankie, the brother.
Yeah.
Damn, I keep on saying to myself, how sure are we that
dead
he died? Yeah, how dead is he?
Or do we do a prequel where we see him, or lots of flashbacks if we get to tell more stories?
I liked Frankie, that he had a presence to him. He was cool. He was really cool. That of the new characters, those are the ones.
Yeah, I love Yen. I think part of that is their dynamic, and you really feel for them as a couple. And she's just comes with a lot of baggage as a character, but also is such a kick-ass female. Her fights are my favorite.
Yeah, I'm with you. Jan is my favorite too.
Okay,
yeah. Cool. You have been involved with John Wick since the first movie. Mm-hmm. What made you trust the franchise since the beginning? What made you?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I don't think we didn't set out to make a franchise on the first movie. We just wanted a really cool revenge movie for a very specific budget, like relatively low budget, that we thought could be pretty cool and interesting, and that's it. On John Wick 2, we were terrified. Okay, we don't have a dog anymore, a dead dog. So are people going to want to see this character, even though there isn't that emotional way into it with the dead dog and the dead wife? And then John Wick 3, the budget was much higher. Like, okay, are we now like a tentpole? So we have moved forward kind of carefully and kind of grown organically over time. We've never at one point going, God, we're a member, we're part of a really successful franchise. We always felt like there was another obstacle that we had to cross. And now on the television show, the big obstacle we got to cross is, will John Wick fans want to see a John Wick TV show that predates Keanu Reeves and predates John Wick? I think they will, and I think people are going to love it. But there's always the question that we're trying to answer on this franchise. So we've never kind of taken our foot off the brake.
No,
off the gas.
Yeah, I mean, the first script, though, I remember reading it. I remember specifically like sitting there and reading it and thinking that the buy-in was so clean. A guy whose dog is killed and going on a revenge mission. Like, it was the core idea of it was such a great buy-in. It's such an interesting concept for a movie that was my initial, like, I think this will work.
Did you talk to Chad Stahelski about what the Continental should like?
Yeah, I think Chad's biggest contribution to the Continental TV series was on the action side. Larnell came from kind of the 8711 school. Now 8711 is that kind of this like United Nations of fight coordinators, stunt
It's a
coordinators.
company that
second
Chad
year
started with David Leitch
Yeah.
early on.
and they all have very similar ways of looking at action. And Larnell came from Chad, and Chad brought us Larnell. Chad was shooting John Wick 3 during the course of, John Wick 4 during the course of shooting our show. So it was impossible for Chad to be involved early on, but he looked at early cuts. And I think the most important role Chad had was his support of Albert. Albert called him quite a bit, asked him questions of how he pulled off certain things. And Chad was always there for Albert. And I think that made Albert feel good because I think Albert's like, okay, I don't want to take over someone's baby unless that person is happy for me to do it.
Yeah. Last question. As you said, Basil, you told Keanu Reeves at the end of John Wick 4 that you left 10% open for his return. Is that the same percentage still now, or?
Yeah. Listen, I think that we are always, again, like I said in the article, there's always a moment where he's like, I'm dying in this. He's like, and the whole joke was, I'm not kidding you. I think in one of the movies, he's like, they behead me. Like, they cut my head off. I'm like, well, let's do something where you maybe survive it.
Less specific.
Yeah, I think that everything's been strange with the strike, and you can't get together with actors or writers, and so once all that stuff hopefully is finished soon, and everyone gets together, and if we could come up with an idea that justifies making a John Wick 5, other than the fact that it's just like, let's just make John Wick 5, so it doesn't feel like a money grab. I think because of all of our personal affection and loyalty towards each other, and the fact that the movies are pretty fun to make, and I think Keanu loves playing John, I think if we could figure out a story, we'll make another one. If we can't, then we won't. But I can't imagine with all these smart people in a room, we can't figure out a way through it.
Y allá vamos. Creía que podría engañar a la alta mesa. ¡Qué insensato!